I will call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes to the agenda? Okay, anyone want to make a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
All right, anyone want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Public comment. So public opportunity to comment on items not listed on the agenda. I don't think there's anybody else online. Okay. Announcements. Looks like there are none. Okay, and then approval of the minutes. So approval of the April 28th, 2026 meeting minutes. Anyone want to make a motion to approve those minutes? I thought they looked okay. Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then the May 26th, 2026 meeting minutes. I thought they looked good. I'll make a motion to approve them. Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Public hearings, looks like there are none. On to general business. Boulder Heights South Concept Plan Review Number 2, KJ Walk Incorporated.
All right, I'll be handling the presentation on this item, and I'm going to go ahead and share a PowerPoint presentation. Here, the Planning Commission did review a concept plan for Boulder Heights South at its February meeting, and the Planning Commission, following that review, recommended support for annexing property based on the concept plan submitted at that time. There was a single-family portion of the development that was not affected by a potential roadway realignment, and the Planning Commission recommended that that area be allowed to develop immediately. And then there is a portion towards the southern portion of the property which could potentially be affected by the realignment of Beard Avenue, and the consensus was to not allow development on that until a decision had been made regarding Beard Avenue's realignment. The Planning Commission had that recommendation included 30 comments and conditions related to that concept plan, and that initial development included 30 acres. The City Council concurred with everything that the Planning Commission had recommended. There were no changes. And these were the two concept plans that had been submitted at that meeting. Following the Planning Commission and City Council review, the property to the west that's shown on this slide here was listed for sale, and KJ Walk, the developer applicant, now has a purchase agreement on that adjacent 10 acres. So their concept plans have been revised to include that additional acreage. They've submitted 3 concept plans, each showing differing alignments for Beard Avenue, A, B, and C. And KJ Walk would like to develop, again, the areas, immediately develop the areas not affected by a potential road realignment. That area identified in each of the plans contains 72 single-family lots. The Planning Commission, I'm going to kind of redo the entire presentation, partly because we have a new member on the commission, and I want to make sure that everybody understands the full development. So, concept number 1 shows, as submitted, shows a slight realignment of Beard, contains 102 total single-family lots, and then an area on the south reserved for apartments or townhomes. And I haven't done any calculations on this. This is just taking information provided by the developer that the area could potentially contain up to 96 units, and that could be based on our density that would be allowed in that area. I'm not exactly sure. Concept 2 shows keeping the current alignment of Beard, just as it currently goes kind of straight south. 105 single-family residential lots, and then an area for apartments of up to 103 units, or approximately 103 units. And then the third concept shows the greatest realignment of Beard Avenue further to the west, quite a bit further to the west, intersecting County Highway 86, showing, this concept shows 99 single-family lots in an area of, for 88 townhouse or apartment units. So just reviewing, again, some of the surrounding neighborhood conditions. To the north of the proposed development is the Boulder Heights development, which was also developed by KJ Walk. That development contains 125 single-family detached lots, and the development is almost entirely built out. I think there are 2 or 3 lots remaining unbuilt. To the south of the proposed development, the land, it's basically agricultural and rural residential properties that are located in Webster Township of Rice County. These properties to the south are located outside of the city limits and outside of the city's 2040 planned growth area, but within the city's ultimate sewer service district or service area. To the east of the proposed development is kind of one lot, one large 40-acre rural residential property that is located in the city's 2040 growth area and guided to low and medium density residential. You can see that there's also a large wetland on the property to the east that's protected by the DNR. And then to the west of the development are kind of large lot rural residential properties again in the township, but within the city's 2040 growth area and guided to low and medium density residential. So development of the property for residential purposes is considered to be compatible with the adjacent land uses. The proposed use of the property for single-family residential homes and townhomes and apartments does meet the intent of the comprehensive plan, which guides the property to a mixture of medium and low-density residential. The northern portion of the property does need to develop at within a range of 2.5 to 5 units per acre, and the southern portion must develop between a density of 5 and 10 units per acre based on the city's comprehensive plan. This slide is just for overview showing the city's 2040 growth boundary in turquoise and the city's ultimate sewer service area in tan. Current zoning on the property is currently in Newmarket Township and therefore zoned by Scott County. It's currently zoned Urban Expansion Reserve. Once annexed into the city, the property would automatically be zoned Urban Reserve and then could be rezoned to zoning districts consistent with the comprehensive plan. Future zoning designation based on the developer's submittal is that the area on the north would be zoned R2, area on the south would be zoned R3. The proposed lot sizes for the single-family lots are shown at a 65-foot lot width, minimum lot area of 8,125 square feet. And then within that R3 zoning designation, there are different lot standards. Single-family homes are allowed, 2-family homes, or apartments and townhouses up to 8 attached units are also allowed in that zoning district, and there are different standards for each housing type. Regarding landscaping, lots that back up to Major Collector Street, which in this case is Beard Avenue, do require additional lot depth for a landscaping buffer. So all lots that either back up to or have a side lot line abutting Beard Avenue would require a landscaping buffer. Extra lot depth should be planned for those lots, 145 feet is recommended there. Those easement landscape buffers should be designated easement area. And then this isn't a developer requirement, but a builder requirement that 2 trees are required in each yard at the time of building permit. Attached housing, at least 30% of the total site area shall be landscaped. And in-ground irrigation is currently required by the city code for attached housing. At the time of plat submittal, landscaping plan will be required. The city does have a tree preservation requirement, so a tree inventory will need to be conducted, and significant trees should be preserved. Up to at least 40% of the significant trees should be preserved. Otherwise, there's a replacement requirements in the subdivision ordinance. The property is primarily agricultural, but there are some trees along some property lines or occupation lines. And then on this additional 10-acre parcel, there's some additional trees that have been planted by that property owner. In terms of sanitary sewer, this slide depicts the city's sanitary sewer plan contained in our comprehensive plan, with the majority of the property falling into Sewer Service District 1S6. The city engineer, or the assistant city engineer, has conducted a downstream analysis of any limiting factors in the sanitary sewer system and has determined that there is capacity in the downstream system to handle the flow from this proposed development. This slide shows the existing sanitary sewer system. A little bit hard to see, but the green lines in the development to the north depict where sewer is currently located. It is available on the north side of the property in Oxford Lane. It will flow then into the Boulder Heights development, which is served by a sewer lift station, which lifts it through a series of pipes and other lift stations. The developer will be required to stub sewer to any adjacent undeveloped properties. This slide depicts the water plan contained in the city's comprehensive plan, and really on the east side of the property, that purple line depicts the city's plan for a 12-inch trunk water main running along the east side of the property somehow. So that will need to be incorporated in the development. This slide depicts the city's stormwater or the watershed districts. The main portion of the property lies within the Scott Watershed Management Organization, but the west 3/4 of the property. And then there's a small portion of the property on the east that flows into the Cannon River watershed. So the 3 plans have been submitted. There are a couple of stormwater ponds that are currently shown on the concept plan, all in the same location, really. 2 stormwater ponding areas for the single-family portion of the development are shown here, and then there's 1 ponding area shown for the apartment or attached housing area to the south. Stormwater ponds under city code should be dedicated to the city in an outlot. So the city will maintain them going forward. A 10-foot vegetative buffer is required from the high water level of those ponds. And there's also a 35-foot building setback requirement from stormwater ponds. A wetland delineation has not yet been completed, but will be required with any future plat applications. If there are any wetlands identified on the site, buffers are also required, and the width depends on the quality of the wetland. Wetlands also must be contained in outlots and conveyed to the city upon filing of the plat. There are no FEMA floodplains on the property. There are no DNR protected waters on the property. The city's transportation plan, just reviewing some transportation issues. The property currently abuts 3 existing streets. That's Oxford Lane on the north, which is an existing city street, a local road, stubbed to the north side of the property. That street is 28 feet in width and within a 60-foot right-of-way, and that is proposed to be extended into the development. County Highway 86 on the south side is a two-lane rural highway that lies on the border of Scott and Rice County. The most recent traffic volumes indicate traffic just under 2,000 vehicles per day. Rice County's most recent transportation plan shows the future functional classification of 86 as a minor arterial roadway, while Scott County's transportation plan shows the future functional class as a principal arterial roadway. So there's a conflict currently on how that road is being planned. The city's currently working jointly with the two counties to rectify that and kind of solidify the future, the plan for County Highway 86. So determining that appropriate future functional classification is important, also in determining the right-of-way that would be recommended as part of the plat. Using the most conservative approach would be Scott County's approach for a principal arterial roadway, which would have a recommendation for 100 feet of right-of-way from the center line of the road. It is worth noting that there has long been speculation that at some point in the future, there could be an interchange at County Highway 86 and I-35. It could never happen. It could be 50 or 100 years from now, but that's the reason for potential right-of-way preservation. So we're currently waiting feedback from Scott County regarding the dedication of right-of-way. And then the third road is Beard Avenue, which is currently a gravel road that is under the jurisdiction of Newmarket Township. Improvement of the road is recommended in connection with the proposed plat. The city collected traffic volumes on Beard Avenue in 2019. Haven't collected any recently, but at that point there were 380, the ADT was 363 cars per day, and the city's transportation plan identifies Beard as a major collector street within the city. We don't allow private access on major collector streets. Any connections should be made by public street connections. And the city's transportation plan also states that the first connection north of County Highway 86 should be at least an 1/8 mile north of 86, which is 660 feet approximately. The city's currently adopted street section for a major collector is 100 feet of right-of-way, 32-foot wide road, two 16-foot travel lanes, and a bituminous trail on one side, 5 feet on the other. So some concerns regarding the realignment. City staff and engineers have had concerns regarding the intersection at Beard Avenue and County Road 86. Questions regarding, there's just been questions regarding if that's the appropriate long-term location, if there's any safety issues at that intersection, and if the road should be realigned as the city grows. Again, staff are working with Scott and Rice County to conduct a study of County Highway 86 and a larger corridor to ensure that intersecting roadways are set up to accommodate future growth and at appropriate and safe locations. So a study of the corridor between Pillsbury, which is east of 35, and Texas Avenue, 27, is currently underway to look at the entire corridor, but they're kind of starting with concentrating on this immediate area. Again, related to this plat, the developer is initially seeking approval of the lots that would not be impacted by a potential realignment. And staff supports that thought and proposal. We would be opposed to recommending approval of any part of the plat, the southern portion of the plat, until the transportation study is complete and agreed to by the counties. In the meantime, staff recommends that the northern portion of Beard Avenue which is currently gravel, be improved with the first phase of the development and open to traffic. Just going to back up a little bit. The existing Boulder Heights development to the north, that contains 125 lots. Although there's two platted streets into the development. One is Oxford and one is Lydia Lane. So Oxford is the north-south street. Lydia Lane is the east-west street. But only Oxford Lane is currently open to traffic. And Lydia Lane is currently barricaded at Beard Avenue. And that arrangement is a result of negotiations with Newmarket Township at the time of that development. Beard Avenue is barricaded because that street is gravel. And the township at the time, or the town board at the time, preferred that the developer pave 275th Street from the development all the way to County Highway 91 in lieu of paving Beard adjacent to the original plat. So again, for this new development, staff is recommending as a condition of the plat, approval of the first phase of the plat, that Beard be improved from 275th to Lydia Lane and Lydia Lane be opened. At that point, there would then be two ways in and out of the development. The recommendation for these existing township roads has been that the road section can remain rural, and that just means a road with ditches rather than curb and gutter, that it can be remain rural, but it be paved. And then for the section south of 275th, that be improved incrementally with future phases of the development. And if realignment of Beard is required, then within the new area, the road should be transitioned to an urban section with curb and gutter. There are a number of local roads that are planned within the development. Not much to say. The local road standard is curb and gutter, 28-foot wide street within a 60-foot right away, sidewalks on the one side of all streets. To understand the projected traffic volumes from the proposed development, we projected traffic or trip generation for all three of the concept plans using the ITE trip generation manual. It was used to determine the amount of daily trips as well as peak hour trips. There's AM peak hour, PM peak hour, and then total daily trips, which are shown on the slides here. So they're generally in the area of 1,600 to 1,700 cars per day. Typically, the city's transportation plan would require the developer prepare a traffic impact study. In this case, working with on the greater transportation study with Bolton and Mink of the Beard Avenue alignment, we'll have them model some of those numbers or some of the traffic out of this development. Based on city code, sidewalks would be, as mentioned earlier, 5-foot sidewalks would be required on all local streets, and then a 10-foot wide trail would be required on the west side of Beard Avenue. Related to park dedication, city subdivision ordinance requires that 8% of the land be dedicated for parks, playgrounds, or public space, or the developer should make a cash contribution equivalent to the land value to the city's park fund. So as a basis, one of the first things we do is we look at our comprehensive plan. The parks chapter of the comprehensive plan doesn't have any park search areas in this vicinity. And then secondly, we look at the location of other parks that would potentially serve this development. It's the city's goal to have a park within a half mile of all residential neighborhoods that would be walkable and not separated by a major highway or major road corridor. In this case, there is a newer park in the Boulder Heights development to the north, and image to the right shows the 1/2 mile radius of that park, and also shows that this entire proposed development would be within that 1/2 mile radius of Boulder Heights Park. So it was staff's recommendations that that cash in lieu of land be dedicated for this development, and the Parks Commission concurred with that recommendation at their last meeting. To develop the property, annexation is required. The property owner, or KJ Walk, has submitted a petition to annex the initial 30 acres. The petition was submitted before the purchase agreement on the second, or the 40 acres, or the additional 10 acres. The city will work with the township regarding the joint resolution for orderly annexation, so that's an agreement between the city and the town regarding the terms of the annexation. I am going to be attending the town board meeting next week to talk about this annexation, as well as a few other things. A pre-development agreement between the city and the developer will also be required, and that agreement will just document the city's expectations regarding the development, should the development proceed. We've sought comments on the concept plans from a number of folks shown on the slide here. The Newmark Township officials have been aware of this. I've talked more specifically with the city engineer on this development. We have had a Zoom meeting to review the concept plan, and we'll review this more again next week at the town board meeting. One thing that we typically require is a ghost plat, which is just a concept plan for adjacent properties. A ghost plat is an additional requirement laid out in the city code, really for the purpose of ensuring that proper road and utility connections are being made to adjacent properties. There's one property to the west of the proposed plat, which I've outlined here on the aerial photograph in red. This property is guided to medium-density residential, and the developer has shown that this area would be served by a road extension that would end in a cul-de-sac. The property is a little unique because probably only a third of it is developable, and then there's some very steep grades that go down to a wetland. So it is a very isolated area, and staff agree that it could be served by a road extension that would terminate in a cul-de-sac. And then there's one additional property kind of to the north and west of the plat, which also touches it. We wanted to ensure that there shouldn't be any road connections from this plat to this property to the northwest. It's outlined in red on the aerial photo here on the left. Similarly, that property has a lot of grade, and there's kind of limited developable area. It is, KJ Walk submitted a concept plan, a ghost plat, showing that Lydia Lane could be extended to the west to serve that property to the west. And staff also concur that there is no need to require a connection from the proposed Boulder Heights South plat to that property to the northwest. That likely will also just terminate in a cul-de-sac with Lydia Lane extending west. So that concludes my presentation. The Planning Commission is being asked to provide any feedback regarding the concept plans and whether annexation of the property would be recommended based on the concept plan submitted.
Any questions, comments? Excuse me.
And could everybody make sure that their microphones are on? Thank you.
What's driving the beard realignment? Is it a safety thing?
I'll let Luke answer that.
Yeah, and you'll you might have seen on a couple of those maps, it's kind of intersecting right at a horizontal curve, but it's not only the horizontal curve, there's also a vertical curve that kind of crests just west of that, so it's coming uphill, so it's really a thing of sight lines as well, and just making sure we're putting that in a proper spot, that we have proper sight lines from both directions. And that's what that analysis is doing right now, is trying to find that sweet spot of where does it make sense to have that actually intersect the highway.
Yeah, we've been involved with that feasibility study or that
Yeah.
transportation study since the beginning. We were at the meetings here.
Yep.
And one of the reasons for that is to move that intersection of Beard and 86. Concept 2 on there doesn't really do that. What's the rationale for concept 2? I mean, it's not moving Beard at all.
Right. We didn't go into it, under the assumption that it needed to be moved. We wanted to evaluate all alternatives, really. I don't know.
So that current study is looking at, is it adequate where it's at? We don't know, that's what we're trying to verify, and so I would say more than likely a shift is probably preferable, but we haven't concluded that per se at this point,
When's
but.
that study gonna be done?
I would have to get back to you on when we have the actual, I think the first phase, when we're looking at this Beard, we're very close on getting that. We're gonna be coordinating with the counties and making sure that we're getting their buy-in on that. So I think we'd have clarity on that within the next month or two. So the concepts were just ideas of different, where it
Yeah.
might land, but there's no confirmation of where that sweet spot is right now.
I've got a couple of comments. I was interested to see that we require irrigation for connected housing. And then also this last legislative cycle, there were some changes to the HOA and CIC with regards to that, and that cities can't require them. I guess maybe it is a question, are we not implicitly requiring an HOA or a CIC if we're gonna require irrigation, because that also requires then the community, a homeowners association, a management company? So I'm kind of curious what you thought about that. And then I agree about the Beard Avenue realignment. It's a safety thing. I don't think we get there with concept 2 as being close to long-term. I'd be more, I'd like to see either 1 or 3.
With that, there might be also considerations of whether if you don't change Beard, do you consider a change on the highway itself too? So that's another thing to consider. Does it make sense if you make some different changes on 86 here?
Good questions.
Yeah, I like Vision 3, I guess, but, you know, that keeps all the apartments, townhomes kind of together instead of separated by Beard, I guess, so,
Yeah, I like the third concept as well.
you know, instead of separating them, so.
Agree. Any other comments or questions? No? Okay.
Mine won't be productive.
No, that's fine.
I'm not a fan of the townhomes or the apartments being down
Sure.
there,
Sure.
but, yeah,
That's fair.
that's personal.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But absolutely have to relocate Beard. That's a bad spot.
But also with 3, though, I think that street coming out on the corner is not the best approach, I'm guessing. I don't know, maybe there's a distance, but I would say that middle street and curve that one and put the middle street on there as the exit street to that. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Is there a reason
Yeah.
for that, or?
Well, Luke might be able to,
I don't know if I followed the question there.
for concept number 3, and I apologize, on this particular drawing, it'd be the southern, or the lowest drawing.
Yep.
He's saying the entrance into the development at the interior curve there, he's suggesting that the entrance be moved to the west,
One block or whatever.
to the, 1 block
Sure.
to the west. So it would be.
Yeah, we would look at sightlines with that. I guess some of it might be part of that spacing that Renee mentioned, that you have to have that 660-foot spacing from the highway where your first intersecting local road has to be that far from the arterial intersection.
Yeah, if it does allow that, although I'll mention that too. Warren is here on behalf of the developer. We could take a look at that. So,
Because doesn't Oxford, if you brought that all the way south, could you not just curve Beard into Oxford at some point?
well, what we didn't want to do is, so Oxford in the development to the north is really just designed as a local road. It's only 28 feet wide and a 60-foot right-of-way, and it has a lot of driveways on it. And if we brought Beard basically all the way down to 86, or down into that road, we thought it might act more like a major collector street. So that's what we were trying to do.
People, as soon as it's, connected to the highway, they're gonna use that as the thoroughfare to get to 275th, and you wanna avoid,
Yeah, I don't want that.
yep.
So it was trying to basically break up that connection.
Okay, so, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna, so just so I understand, so if Beard is paved,
Yep.
then Lydia can open up?
If Beard Avenue from Lydia to 275th
Yep.
is paved, it would open up.
Nice.
And then I didn't understand, so the bottom part of Beard would be curbed and guttered with the development later on, if it got realigned or whatever.
Yeah, once it gets off its existing gravel road alignment, if it was realigned, then it would transition to curb and gutter. But
Just at the realignment.
anything in the existing portion of the road would remain rural. The ditches are already in place,
This is,
allows for some stormwater management and some drainage in those ditches.
yeah, okay, I was just kinda confused by the earlier statement about that, so.
Okay.
So maybe not related, but the house that has been bought, that property, how old is that house?
The old schoolhouse? Or the
No.
one, or the
Yeah,
10 acre lot?
The house that's on that 10-acre lot, how old, do you know how old that is?
I did.
I gotta look it up here a sec.
I think it was built, like 1987 or something like that. But I have looked at it, and the exterior clearly has been resided more fairly recently. And actually, it's,
1994.
what was it,
The year built was 1994.
94?
Yep.
But the exterior is really in good shape, and so it's got newer siding. And it's actually has decent curb appeal, so it's gonna fit well into the neighborhood. But we are gonna add, it's only a 2-car garage, and it's a side entry now. We're gonna change it so it's a front entry like all the others, and add a 3rd stall. So-
it faces southwest then?
Yeah, so it'll fit in the neighborhood just fine. It's actually a pretty big garage too, so it's gonna be actually a pretty nice garage.
So just to clarify, you're planning on keeping it?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's,
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Tear it down?
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty nice property.
yeah, it's a decent house. I've been inside and needs some new carpet and maybe some paint, but it's definitely worth keeping. And I think if you show it on the plan, you can see where it fits pretty well on one of the lots.
You can, if you go on
So
Google
it's
Maps,
the
you
odd
can,
looking one there in the, not a square.
right there.
Yeah, you can see the existing house there.
Yeah, if you go on Google Maps.
Fits pretty well on,
See it pretty well.
Yeah. So just really quick, I'm gonna address Melissa's question. So the requiring irrigation for apartment sites and townhouse sites, that is kind of, also it's kind of a value question. Does the city want to continue to require that? I figured that that would be something we'd be revisiting in the future regardless. I'm not sure what the intent of KJ Walk is. I know that Luke at one point had, not Luke Wheeler,
yeah,
Luke
we got two
Israelson
Lukes we're dealing with
told me
now.
that they may build apartments to rent, and then it wouldn't be an association, they would just own all of the underlying land. So then irrigation wouldn't require an HOA if they're gonna own the properties. But if they were going to sell units, for instance, and build townhouses and sell units, you are absolutely right, that's probably something we couldn't require. And maybe you wanna, regardless of the HOA issue, maybe that's something that you wanna talk about, whether that should be a requirement.
Irrigation will be put in regardless, for sure.
Okay.
And then to Casey's comment regarding apartments and townhomes along, not supporting that, the city's comprehensive plan just basically along major road corridors, transitions, more density along the major road corridors. So the comprehensive plan currently allows, or currently requires higher densities in that area. I think that was, I don't think there were any other questions for you.
Any other questions? Okay. So you're looking for recommendation on basically all these,
Well, really the questions are, I mean, the questions right now, I'll just get to this last slide, are, does the planning commission provide feedback on the concepts? I heard specifically from Brad, look at maybe shifting that connection to Beard to the west on if option 3 is kind of the preferred.
I agree with that.
And then, do you support annexation of the property for development of the property as it's been provided on these concept plans? And would you support development of the northerly portion of the property in the immediate future?
Sure.
And then there were 30 comments and conditions, or recommendations included in the staff report. They have been provided to the developer. They have had an opportunity to review them. They're actually almost exactly the same as the first time around. So I would like those included in any recommendation.
Yeah, they're on page 29 and 30 of the packet.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion. I'm good with it, but
Yeah, I'm good with it too. So we're okay with the annexation of, or making a proposal to annex it,
the
right?
40 acres.
The full 40 acres.
And start developing the northern
Yes,
portion and completing the Beard
and then
and opening the street and
with the 30
points.
conditions.
Yeah.
We'll get there. There's so many things.
There's so many points to make.
Along with the comments regarding the
On the
concept.
corner, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Proposal 3, yep.
Okay.
So there you go. There you have it. I think that's all you need to know, right?
That's your recommendation?
Yeah, I have a motion by Brad,
Yep.
I'll second.
All right,
a
All in
second by
favor?
Melissa.
Aye.
all right. Approved.
All right, 5-0. And Warren, so that's our recommendation for approval from the Planning Commission. And we're going to try to get this on the City Council agenda for July 9th.
Okay,
We'll
I'll be there.
know by tomorrow if we'll be able to do
Okay.
that. Okay,
That'd be great.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Is there a timeline on Beard Avenue? Sounds like a study going on and.
Well, it's going to be dictated by when the study gets finished and when they start their development. So the developer will do the
Oh,
improvements.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
All right, general business. B, review property acquisition for conformance with comprehensive plan, BN Enterprises property.
All right. I need to do that here. I will be handling the presentation on this item as well. So the BN Enterprises LLC owns 16 acres surrounding City Hall to the east and to the north of the current City Hall site. The property is vacant, and they purchased this property as an investment, the current owners, Brian and Nick, as an investment in 2024. They purchased it to flip it, basically, and they have been marketing the property for development. The city council has expressed an interest in acquiring this property for the ultimate city campus and has directed staff to negotiate a purchase agreement on just 4 acres of the property that would be directly north of City Hall. An agreement has been reached. Minnesota statute requires that a municipality may not acquire real property until after the planning agency has reviewed the proposed acquisition and reported in writing to the governing body, which is the city council, its findings as to compliance of the proposed acquisition with the city's comprehensive plan. You are the planning authority or the planning agency as defined by state statute. And the city council has not, some cities have delegated that authority to the city council for purposes of property acquisition, but we haven't done that, so you still hold that recommending authority. The public purpose that has been identified by the city council is to preserve the land for the ultimate city campus or to allow City Hall to grow and police and fire. And also a portion of the land would be potentially needed for a roadway connection, which will be described later in this presentation. So here on this slide, you can see the City Hall on the lower left, along with a salt shed or storage shed to the north. To the east is property that we purchased, I believe, in 2021. It used to have a single-family home and a pole barn on it. The single-family home has since been removed. That acquisition, we refer to as the Kuhlman property, was also made so that we could expand the municipal campus. We could expand the fire department, police department when we outgrow the current facility. The area shaded in yellow is the portion of BN Enterprises property that we are looking to acquire, or that the city council has directed us to acquire. Quick map that just shows the location of utilities. The next property to the north is the Parkway Meadows development, which was constructed recently. There are sewer and water and road connections on the north side of the property proposed for acquisition. Those sewer and water mains are stubbed to the southern property line. So a little bit about the municipal campus plan. In 2008, so it's been quite some time ago, a public facilities master plan was completed. This plan evaluated future space needs for a city hall, fire, police, public works, and library. Now, just to note that public works is not ever planned to be at this campus, but the space needs for those facilities in the study were tied to a population, a city population of approximately 20,000 people, and considered 5 locations for a future municipal campus. One was here. There were other areas along Highway 2, but at the end, an area surrounding the existing city hall was selected as the preferred location. And the campus plan, as identified by the consultant, adopted by the city in 2008, contains approximately 20 acres. So just backing up a little bit, there's, this is just a high-level concept. It doesn't mean it's going to develop exactly this way, but it did account for in addition to City Hall, police, fire, library, some open space. And one of the reasons it was selected was to provide potential open space and park facilities for that development to the northwest. It's a little that development is actually underserved by parks. So at the time the study was done, in 2008, the city owned just the area in green shown on this particular slide. And then in 2021, we acquired the Kuhlman property, which is the additional L-shaped piece on the slide. And then in 2025, we acquired 2 additional pieces, one to the west of City Hall and one to the north of City Hall. And the one to the north was park dedication for Parkway Meadows. So you can see the 4 acres lies squarely in the middle. So the yellow area is what we're looking to acquire. That would complete the campus plan. We wouldn't be looking for any additional property. And coincidentally, it totals approximately 20 acres. So it's not an exact square, but it's pretty close. And this is the same property overlaid on a current aerial photograph. The current zoning is urban reserve, which is just a preservation district. It could be rezoned to a zoning district consistent with the comp plan. The comp plan has the property guided to town center, which allows commercial, institutional, multifamily, or mixed use. So there's a broad variety of uses that could go in that 4 acres. Also, the city's transportation plan does currently identify a north-south road. We call that Riley Road as a future minor collector street. I've circled it here on our transportation plan map. And here it is on an aerial photograph. You can see in the new development to the north, Riley Road was extended to the south and but it dead ends at this property. If we want to extend that road to the south, we would need a portion of the proposed acquisition. Riley Road could also help future access into municipal campus. This was a concept that the former city engineer had developed, again showing the red circle shows where Riley Road would intersect the property that's proposed for acquisition. So we are asking the Planning Commission to determine if the property is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, and if you agree, adopt Resolution 26-01.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
When did the city grab it in '24, when it was up for sale?
They were selling the entire 16 acres as one piece.
Oh, they didn't want to subdivide?
Yeah, they didn't want to subdivide. The owners had passed away, and the heirs wanted to sell it, and they wanted to sell the whole thing.
Gotcha.
In fact, Brian, BN Enterprises would also like to sell the city, the whole thing, but, you know, we could and then try to resell it, but we really don't have a public purpose for that other portion right now.
Okay, I think it makes sense as well. So you just need a recommendation to adopt the,
Yeah, I need a motion to adopt Resolution 26-01.
So moved.
I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay. All right, on to miscellaneous, citywide sweep. Recap.
Sure, so I'll just share I didn't put a PowerPoint together, I'll just share the memo that we had in your packets. So, yeah, the city began doing this citywide sweep in 2020. Essentially, we go around the whole city, look at every single house, and see if they have any common code violations. So, we did not do it last year due to Jake's departure happening right at that time and just being strapped for time. So this year, I recruited the chief of police to come with me for funsies, and we went around and did that. And that's why you kind of see in here, like, just a different variation of violation letters. So surprisingly, I'm not as keen of an eye as he is. So, you know, we're going around and there's a lot of inoperable vehicle violations on here because, according to him, if someone can't get in the car right now and drive on the street legally, it's inoperable. So there's some people he's been warning for a long time, I'm paraphrasing, but that have had expired tabs for a couple of years or whatever. So those were some of them. And yeah, then we just drove around, looked for boats in people's yards, looked for campers in people's yards, looked for junk in the yard. So we gave out 60 letters. Most of them were resolved. But unfortunately, I believe it was 8 or 9 of them going to citation. So I say unfortunately because obviously the goal is not to bully people, it's to have them comply with the rules and regulations. So it's unfortunate when we get to that point, but sometimes, you know, a letter only does so much. So, but yeah, I think overall it was good. And I also wanted to add that, you know, I put this in the newsletter and on Facebook beforehand to try to give people a warning. And I feel like we gave extra warning this year. And I think that had a lot to do with the number being down from 2024 because people obviously just don't want to deal with the hassle, so they clean it up before we get out there, which is the goal. Yeah.
Right. Do you remember what month you did this to?
We did it like late May, or yeah, mid-May maybe. It was last month.
Okay, I thought so, and I was just wondering because time with like spring cleanup and things and people laying things around, so I was.
Yeah, it
May maybe.
Yeah, right.
it was actually, it was, now that you say that, it was like early mid-May because I was given a little bit of lax for people with longer grass. Like if it was close, I was like, all right, it's all right, I'll give you some time, but there were some you just can't, crazy. So, yeah, it was good, it was successful, I think, and hopefully we're gonna do it again next year, and hopefully the numbers keep going down and down every year, and more compliance within the city. So, if you guys have any questions, I'll field them, but, yeah.
So to confirm, you can have a boat in your yard or a camper?
Correct, not on the grass, yeah.
On the grass.
What if you have like a side?
Parking?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a parking pad, yep,
Oh,
then
okay.
it's fine. And that's, you know, people, the first question they ask is, well, what do I have to do? And I say, either install a parking pad or install pavers. So a lot of people go pavers because it's cheaper, but, yeah, so they're technically within their rules there, but just not on the grass.
Okay.
Thank you. And then community development updates.
I don't have any updates.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
I had one earlier, but now I forget what it was. I'll think about it.
All right.
Did have good
Oh.
conversation. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I know.
No, you're gonna forget.
Has the city ever thought of a site for grass and tree trimming disposal, recycling
I've been
center?
asking for that for a long
I know,
time.
we keep bringing it up, it
Yeah.
keeps getting denied. Now that we have all this land that's
do
not
it.
being used,
Yeah.
why don't we use it?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think a site necessarily around City Hall
Oh, it
would
is.
be
Perfect.
appropriate, but, yeah, we've talked about it at the Public Works facility. But right now, the entrance is a driveway. At some point, if that driveway is converted to a road, which is the plan, then we would likely put one there.
After
But
someone
it-
sells their house next door, maybe?
Yeah, the property to the south would need to develop, so,
Or isn't it north, or is it south?
south.
Oh.
Yeah. So the driveway, the city owns a 33-foot strip of land that goes back to our municipal campus, our Public Works campus. And then when the property to the south develops, which runs all along 91, we'd get another 30-foot strip of land or additional right-of-way, and then would be converted to a road instead of a driveway that would be open to the public. That's what we've talked about. But until
Is
then,
Marty's land sold or no?
I'm not certain.
Not certain, because that was a concept at one time.
Yeah, MI Homes had submitted a concept on that, and we met with them in a DRT meeting a couple of times, and I don't believe that they're involved with the property any longer.
I have a random question. So within the city, just looking at it, we don't really have many like community garbage cans or garbage sites. Is that ever going to be a possibility?
I can pass on the comment to Public Works, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Because there's not.
So are you thinking more in the downtown or
Like
just
even on
around?
2 itself, or even by the parks. I know there's that dumpster at the park, but like, there's a few of them, I think, but city trails.
Sure.
How about a temporary dog park?
We're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
We have land though.
I mean, people pretty much use Big Windrose Park as a dog park, as it stands. Big Windrose, there's the Frisbee Golf down there.
So,
Double.
speaking of that, great segue.
The one with the hockey rink?
So collectively, I have some neighbors in my development that are archers, and they would love for Elko Market to get an archery range. I think that they would help volunteer their services to construct it.
I think there was temporary archery at that park at one point within the last,
Big Windrose?
within
Yeah.
like the last couple of years.
Why
I think
can't
there
you
was
guys
two.
advertise it on Facebook?
I mean, I remember hearing about it once when I was pretty new, and I guess it kind of fell through the cracks, but that is a thing that,
People, yeah,
so let me,
I know archery is a big thing, right? Ritter Farm is a big area too.
yep, but you gotta pay for that.
Yeah.
so like, yeah, we're very open to it. I think it was a thing for quite a few years, and
If you get bored, go over to Lonsdale and look at theirs. I highly recommend.
where is it?
South side of town, kind of behind the lumberyard.
Okay, yeah.
New Prague has one. Fenced dog park.
Yeah.
She's saying people.
I'll look into that,
big
Casey.
open, Perfect. But yeah. I wouldn't trust my dogs, so they're little.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll pass on those comments to the city council that
Appreciate it.
compost facility, there is a lack of garbage cans along city parks and trails.
And on Main Street, just the amount of trash.
The archery range starts with an A, so put that at the top.
And I,
Recommended temporary location for a dog park.
Fenced
Yeah.
dog park.
and don't quote me
And,
on this, Nicole, but I was talking to Derek from Public Works recently, and I think his guys are like sick of all the doggy stations, so I think they're talking about conforming all of them, or making them all garbage cans instead, essentially, so like, maybe that's already in the works, but not probably as many as we need, but some.
So can I ask a question of that? They're frustrated with the bags getting like thrown on the ground or?
I didn't ask for detail, I kind of heard it in passing, I said,
Okay.
okay.
So we have stations that just is like a
They're
bags.
dog waste stations,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of them, and
Yeah,
they're like inefficient, and they have to go around very often to switch them out, where if it was a garbage can,
yeah.
they don't have to do it
They're
as
just
often.
little boxes probably is what he's.
Yeah, so I think that their frequency of cleaning those and emptying them is too often for their liking, so.
Okay.
I don't know. I never been to.
All right, anything else?
Love to throw stuff at you.
How's the search for your next you?
We interviewed somebody last week. We're going to be conducting a second interview. Have moved that individual on to a second interview in late July. So- Yeah. Well, we had moved somebody on to, further into the process, but it just didn't quite work out. Yeah. So, no news to report there yet.
All right, anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, meeting adjourned at 8:04 PM. Thanks, everyone.